Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I updated this what if, but I thought, hey, why not? Might as well do it. You know, I got time, I got ideas, let's work on a script. And so I finally finished the script for part 4. Just a quick tidbit, I do get horrible writer's block. And so if I don't go back to a what if for a while, it's probably because I just got writer's block and I forgot about it. So if you guys do want me to continue a series that I seemingly gave up on, just remind me in the comments to definitely do that part. And I will make sure to do that part. As I said in my latest video, I think it was, my video before this one, which was the last part of what if Naruto had the powers of the 5 Kage, I will be trying to do longer videos, 30 minutes to an hour, although I probably won't deliver an hour videos for a long time because, well, you know, I just really don't like recording for an hour. Then again, if I get a 500 to 500 subscribers, you already know I'm doing that 1 hour special. So 500 subs, 1 hour special. And that's a guarantee, okay? I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get straight into it. A month has passed since the funeral of Hisashi Midoriya. Eri Midoriya has been put in a mental hospital alongside her mother, Inko Midoriya. Izuku and Kaito have been taking the death of their father a little better, since they were slightly prepared for this to happen, although they did know who their father was, so they didn't understand why he had died like this. They were saddened, but just a bit more sane, besides their mother and little sister. Eri gave the vial that All For One had given her to Kaito. It was a needle full of Hisashi's blood, and Kaito knew what this was for. He injected his father's last gift into his bloodstream, and gained the power of 2 different quirks known as Scarlet Eyes and Bloodstream. I will not explain those quirks. They will be explained later. And the reason he doesn't just get All For One is because that would just be too overpowered. Second of all, the reason I don't want him to, the reason he's not, going insane, turning into a Nomu, is because, he is, the pinnacle of human, physicality, and, he has a really good quirk for, manipulating his body structure and overhaul. Not only that, it is that, and those are the 2 main reasons why he hasn't turned into a Nomu. A normal person would, and especially a weak-minded person, but he has a strong will. He cried, a little bit when Hisashi died, but decided that he had to be, the man of the house now, and continue forward for his younger brother. Well, Izuku is like a younger brother to him. He calls Izuku his younger brother, even though they're only a couple months apart. And obviously his younger sister and his mother. Izuku and Kaito obviously got accepted into UA and go in on their first day of school. Aizawa glares at them and for coming in late, asking, "First day of school and you're late. Do you even want to be a hero?" Izuku clenches his fist and is about to yell at Aizawa, but Kaito puts his hand on Izuku's shoulder, calming him down. They go to sit down, and Aizawa explains what they're going to do that day. The desk goes normal, and the girl with the invisibility quirk, Hagakure, comes in last. But Aizawa, to her relief, says that no one is getting expelled. Tsuyu notices that something is obviously wrong with Deku, and she walks with him while he's going home. Izuku, what's wrong? "It's nothing," he says, turning away.
"Look, Izuku, if you need to talk to someone, I'm here, okay?"
"I'm fine, Asui." This makes her frown. Sure, they hadn't had much interaction, but he'd called her Sue, the most formal being Tsuyu, for the conversations they had.
Izuku,
She said softly. I said I'm fine, Izuku screamed, whipping around, tears streaming across his face and smacking her away. Tsuyu gets so startled that she tears up and almost begins to cry. And she tries to run away, but Izuku catches her by the wrist before she can get too far. Izuku? She questions, fear laced in her voice, and a pure look of questioning in her and confusion in her eyes. I can't hide it anymore. Please, Sue. I need to talk with someone, and you're the only friend I have. Izuku trembles, falling to the floor and shivering. Tsuyu picks up his head, her look of fear turning to the warm smile that Izuku loved. And she lifts Izuku's head and says, "Sure." It is the next morning. Izuku opens his eyes, and he looks down to see a sleeping Asui laying on his chest. They're on the couch, and a blanket is draped over the both of them. Izuku blushes hard, talking like crayon red kinda, blushing. Kinda red. Yeah, that's how red he is. She wakes up and she looks into Izuku's glowing, like almost glowing, not legitimately glowing, but like shimmering brown eyes. She turns equally red and they quickly separate, blushing and looking away. They look down at the table in front of them. There were 2 bowls of eggs, with eggs on rice, topped with a glazed sauce. It glimmered and shined. Izuku smiled to himself contently. Even if Kaido was suffering, he still acted like a good older brother. Tsuyu saw this wholesome smile and she smiled herself. A lot had happened that night. Izuku had spilled everything about his father, his mother, his sister, the trauma his sister and older brother had gone through, and the suffering he and his family had gone through since his father's death. He also explained why there were multiple cuts on his wrists, multiple scars of where a knife had been thrust across his arms. But the thing that made Tsuyu continually have a blush on her face was when Izuku spilled the beans about how he thought of her. That her smile was one of the things that got him through the day. The thought of seeing her was enough to keep him from going with his mother and sister to that mental institute. This made her blush. And the thing that made her heart race was that he'd kissed her. Not on the lips, just on the forehead. But it was enough to make the young frog girl's heart go faster than a fighter jet. Izuku and Tsuyu got dressed, and Tsuyu looked down at her phone. She was going to get yelled at, but she did not care. Tsuyu knew that it was more important to help Izuku about his emotions. He needed to talk to someone, and she cared about him. Genuinely, as a friend, and maybe one day as a partner. But now, Izuku just needed time to heal, and she was going to be there to help him through that. That was definitely more important than being home for dinner. A few more days would pass, and All Might would announce that the students would be doing a training exercise. The teams would be called, and Izuku and Kaido would be up against Bakugo and Ida. As soon as they enter, Izuku and Kaido would come up against Bakugo. Oi, you stupid Deku. You gonna steal my quirk or not, huh? Is that your quirk? Isn't that your quirk? You villain! Bakugo screamed. The fizzling of, or rather the sizzling of small explosions in his hand. Izuku just looked down, obviously hurt by this. But Kaido charged forward with blinding speeds, his teeth bared and his eyes full of rage, almost seeming to turn red in that moment. I've been waiting for this moment ever since I heard what you did to my little brother. Katsuki Bakugo, you fucking... sorry, I started to whisper there. Katsuki Bakugo, you fucking bastard! Kaido would clock Bakugo across the jaw, sending him on his ass. Kaido would jump on top of Bakugo, using Overhaul to blow Bakugo's arms to blood splatters. Bakugo's screams of pain would be the only thing heard over the rapid punches that Kaido was delivering to his face, throat, and chest. Eventually, Izuku would rip Kaido away after seeing Bakugo start to cough up a lot of blood and seeming to be hacking up a lung. Eventually Izuku, as I said, would rip away Kaido, and he would say, "It's not worth it. He's not worth it, Kaito-ni-chan. Let's just go." Kaido would knock Bakugo out before restoring his arms and the damage that he had done to Bakugo. They headed to the bomb room, and they would completely speed bullets Ida. The time for the USJ has arrived, and everyone is absolutely terrified, even Todoroki, by the absolute fucking unit that is Kaido. He has the body of a Greek god, only further exposed by his hero costume, having a jacket similar to his older brother Kai's, blue jeans, strong grip combat boots, and no shirt underneath the jacket, leaving his entire front and a 360 view of his lower torso completely revealed. People like Kirishima and Sato aspired to be like him, be as buff and as manly as him. And, well, most of the other boys that just wanted to be popular with girls, like Ojiro and, well, Minetta's not in the class. Obviously, we have to balance it by keeping 20 people. So, yeah, Kaido just took Minetta's spot. It's for the best. Rest in peace. Comedy relief. Yeah, Minetta's just comic relief. But, we get enough of that with Mina and Kaminari, so I think it really does balance it out. And, honestly, people give Minetta a lot of flack, and, that Aries shit was horrible. I hate that. But, you gotta give Minetta credit. At least he's willing to do these things. Like, if anything, Minetta is the true main character, because only a true main character is a perv. We all know this. And Izuku, he too much a simp. Not in this one. Not in this what if. But in the original canon, dude, man's is a simp. Straight simp. And I ain't talking for Uraraka. My man's is just blowing Uraraka off. He's like, meh, let's just be a hero. I don't really care about that shit. Nah, my man's is complete simping for All Might. I swear to God. Izuku, calm down. Stop simping for All Might. Please. But back to Kaido, the human incarnation of a Greek god. Momo has a huge, almost freakishly levels of crushing on Kaido, but she refused to show it. We're talking she loves him as much as friggin' Izuku loves All Might in the original canon. It's a lot. Okay, well, maybe not that kind of creepy. She doesn't have action figures and posters of him. Maybe not yet. I'm just playing. Meanwhile, with Minetta, as I said, being ejected from the story, Mino fills in with her own pervy tendencies. She has been caught multiple times staring like almost hungrily at Kaido, especially in his hero costume. Kaido's been pretty nice and caring, so everyone feared him. Of course, after what he did to Bakugo, but they thought he was badass, and he was really kind. So, when Kaido told them, and also Kaido did explain himself why he did what he did to Bakugo, and they understand from what what they had been told about Bakugo, and Bakugo apologized to Izuku. He had literally gained a diagnosed PTSD, by Recovery Girl herself, had been diagnosed with PTSD from the event from the beating Kaido had given him. They walk into the USJ, only to be attacked by villains. They are split up, and Izuku is thrust into a situation where he is underwater. He can't move very well underwater. And Ito Shura, although would give him a boost, would still not be able to outpower and outspeed his opponents in the water. He's trying to think all of these situations quickly, trying to think of a way to get to the surface. When Tsuyu, out of nowhere, kicks a shark villain to the side that was about to attack Izuku, he hadn't even noticed. She grabs him by the chest with her tongue, rips him out of the water, and she jumps out, carrying Aoyama too, as they all three land on the deck of a boat that's in the middle of the small lake that they were in. Izuku quickly devises a plan to beat the villains, and Tsuyu jumps up really high, and Aoyama does a concentrated blast straight into the water, and the water starts to spiral around, doing what Izuku did in the original canon, where the water continues to spin around. Then Izuku, in this canon, fills in the part of what Mineta would have done, only he uses chronostasis to shoot hair needles, and basically pin all of the bad guys together. It could be through their clothing, it could be through their skin. He could make them a bunch of pin cushions. We don't know exactly what happened. Izuku didn't care, he just blasted a bunch of spikes into the middle. So yeah, maybe Izuku just got a 30 kill streak. Maybe that just happened. Who knows? Izuku, Aoyama, and Tsuyu make their way to Aizawa, who's getting the living shit beaten out of him. Izuku tells Tsuyu to run and wait for All Might to get here. Tsuyu looks at Izuku as if to ask the question, "Are you going to be okay?" Izuku just looks at her back, and as if they were a married couple who had been married for many years, they understand each other. Tsuyu just smiles, knowing that Izuku is definitely saying that he'll be okay. As she hops away with Aoyama, with an Aoyama that is in a lot of pain in her arms. Izuku closes his eyes, and his eyes glow green. Ito Shura. He lunges forward and uses Paralyze to lock down the Nomu's movements, although it only lasts for a short amount of time. Shigaraki smiles, thinking that he has won, and Izuku is staring at the Nomu, knowing he will probably lose. He turns to Shigaraki as the Nomu approaches him from behind. "Villains took my father away. Villains made my mother and sister contract mental health problems and literal mental health diseases. Villains destroyed my life," Izuku screams. Just as the Nomu was about to kill Izuku, it gets completely and utterly atomized, not being able to use a single speck of blood to even think about regenerating. Who other than Kaido fucking Midoriya to come in clutch? "Yo, little bro, you're not gonna die on me, are ya?" he said, smiling. Izuku and Kaido stand there. Izuku with the face of a man who has seen all of his friends die, and Kaido with the smile of a man who has lost his sanity. Almost as if Batman and the Joker were standing beside each other. Shigaraki and Kurogiri look at each other before Shigaraki says, "Until next time, young heroes." Before him and Kurogiri retreat, All Might arrives, as well as with other pro heroes, just in time to see Shigaraki leave. All Might grits his teeth and walks up to the two boys, apologizing that he couldn't be there sooner. They just nod and say, "That's okay." Well, Izuku nods and says, "It's okay, Mr. All Might. We understand." It's not easy being the #1 pro hero. Not only that, you're also teaching a bunch of high schoolers, teaching and being the #1 pro hero. Man, we really can't ask you for much more, can we? Izuku says, scratching the back of his head. Nonsense, boy. You two have proven that you're both really strong. You stood up to pro villains. Or, well, I guess, just call them villains, not pros. We don't even know how good they are. Although, they did manage to take out Aizawa, and that Nomu looked pretty formidable. But I didn't get a good look at it. After all, the only thing I've seen is the couple of pictures that have been taken from the security footage so far. Where did it go? Sorry, Mr. All Might, but that's my fault. I kinda atomized the thing. Atomized? What do you mean atomized? Well, I mean, I used my quirk overhaul to eradicate it on a cellular level. No, sorry, on an atomic level. Oh, I see. Well then, you two young heroes will be fine candidates. Candidates? What do you mean, Mr. All Might? For the successor to my quirk, one for all. Izuku and Kaido look at each other, but Kaido just smiles and says, Sorry, sir, but I'll decline you. By the way, I am. It takes a whole lot of mental fortitude and a whole lot of strength to keep the 4 quirks that I have. If I were to take on a 5th one, especially one as powerful as yours, sir, I'd probably turn into one of those Nomu things. But my buddy, well, my brother over here, he can take as many quirks as he likes. And it doesn't matter. I see, All Might says. Well then, you're both young Midoriya, but young Izuku, would you like to be the holder of one for all? Izuku ponders this and says, Please, sir, I mean no disrespect, but I have to think about this. Will you give me a little bit of time? Of course, my boy, All Might says, before giving a quick salute and going to help the others. Izuku looks at Kaido and Kaido just smiles, pulling him in for a hug, saying that it's over. It's over, Izuku. They're gone. But they'll be back, won't they? Yeah, when they do, we'll be ready. Okay, little bro? Kaido says, sticking out his fist. Alright. You promise? Izuku says. You promise you won't leave like Dad did? Izuku says. Kaido, realizing that Izuku's about to cry, says, I will never leave you, Eri, or Mom. I will never do that. And best believe. No, but you must know that if it comes to a situation where it's me or you, I'm going to take that fall for you. Okay, Izuku. Izuku nods and hugs his brother one more time before walking out And there he comes face to face with Tsuyu Asui. Tsuyu looks at him with a shocked expression on her face, then smiles and runs up and hugs him. Izuku blushes and says, Tsuyu, Midoriya, or, no, Izuku. Come on. I thought you were fine with hugs now. Sorry, just still a little embarrassing to get used to. Now my hug's not good. Or is it because you're hugging me? Tsuyu, don't say that, he says, taking her face in his hands. Tsuyu, you're beautiful, and I'll die before I let anyone says you're ugly and let them get away with it. Asui smiles, saying, of course you would, you big kind dummy. She gives him a peck on the cheek and hugs him once more. Izuku wraps his arms around her and says, Asui, no, Tsuyu, do you want to make it official? Tsuyu opens her eyes and begins to cry. For the first time in her life in years, she hadn't cried since 3rd grade. But she was. But these weren't tears of sadness, they were tears of pure, elated joy. Of course, Izuku. Of course. And with that, Izuku and Asui are now official. And that will be the end of part 4 to What If Deku Had All for One. I sincerely hope that you all enjoyed. And if you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. You know, I've already told you this before, but I love your comments. I love your feedback. What if suggestions? Just random shit we do in the comments. I love that too. I don't know when I'll be able to create my own Discord server. I don't even know if anybody would join. But honestly, if you do, make sure to tell me in the comments. Just tell me whatever the hell you want. In fact, if you think my content is the most garbage shit you've ever seen in your life, then tell me. Tell me it's horrible. Tell me it's good. Tell me something I need to change. Tell me. Give me your recommendations. Give me your criticism. Just don't complain for no reason. For God's sakes, don't just say it's bad and not give me a reason. Because saying something is bad, unless it is objectifiably bad. You see, if all of my videos were getting dislikes, and that was the majority of the response I got, I would be changing my content. But the majority is likes, and I have a lot of subscribers. So, the message that sends me is that you guys do like this content, and you want me to make more. And so, constructive criticism is always great. Like, even if it's positive criticism, like, I love that stuff. But if it's negative, I definitely need to know. Because I need to know. I love to know what you guys like. Like, even if it's something from another content creator, you know? Obviously tell me if, like, it's something that they directly, like, almost created almost. Yeah, if they, like, created it. But, like, if you like something, tell me what it is, and if it fits well, then I'll be like, oh, hell yeah. In fact, it's worked well a couple of times, and I did promise someone that I would be doing What If Naruto Was Neglected. I also promised someone I would be doing What If Naruto Was like Obito, but I actually have a project in the works right now, so those 2 series will be coming later. You could expect them sometime in December. Meanwhile, or maybe sometime in November. I really don't know. But that is besides the point. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.